So I just wanted to make this video today. I don't vlog. I'm not a vlogger. I'm not an active video blogger. But I just felt inspired to make a video today because I just felt like this was an important topic, and I would encourage people to share this. I have been a registered nurse for 10 years. I have like mask marks on my face because I wear a mask all day. And I have actively worked with patients, throughout my registered nursing career. And, when COVID hit, I still have a lot of family in New York. I live in Florida, as most of you know. I have a lot of family that still lives in New York, and when COVID-19 first hit New York City, it was devastating. It was devastating to my family, to my extended family members, how many people we lost. Whether I knew them or not, the idea that people that I love are suffering because they're losing loved ones from this virus that was just ravishing the city at this point. It was devastating, and it was scary. And, in March and April, living with this fear of this virus, being out to get you. And I remember that fear. And it was very real to me, like the idea that I was just waiting for when it was going to come and get me. And that might not seem logical, but when you're going through that much loss and that much suffering and that much fear, that's how it feels, like just being real. When your family is, I think extended family, aunts, uncles, cousins, second, third cousins, like just extended family. I think we lost probably 15 people in my family between March and August. I would say maybe more. I think the count is more, depending on how you're counting it. But, I would just give that round number. But that's how, real it was for me. That's how real COVID-19 has been for me. And, I have family in healthcare. I have my father in healthcare. My sister's a teacher. Like, I have all these people that I love so dearly. And they're, on the front lines. They're, actively in danger at their workplace. And, by the grace of God, we've been able to keep my daughter home from school. And so she's safe with her father. And, it just gives me peace of mind so that I'm able to kind of go to work every day and do what I have to do. Because, obviously our jobs are our livelihood and we need to work. So, but this whole controversy, I think, about the vaccination, I get it. Before my nursing career, I never got the flu vaccine. I always said if I had kids, I would space out vaccines. I'm not going to give my kid the vaccines all at once. I'm going to do a spaced out schedule. And that was fine. Until I had my daughter. And this life, that I'm now responsible for is in my arms. And I'm like, there are threats out there. There are real threats for children, and luckily, we've eradicated, diseases in the United States with vaccinations, mumps, measles, rubella. These are things that you don't even think about anymore because our kids are vaccinated. And so you're not faced with that threat. You don't have to see that every day. So after having my daughter, the idea of these vaccinations, yes. Is it painful to watch your kid get shots and go through this? Yes. Are there adverse reactions that happen to with vaccines? Yes. I was always the type of person to have adverse reactions to the flu vaccines. I always got sick. I always got welts on my arm where I got it. My arm, couldn't move for a few days, or it would be swollen and red and hot. And for the past few years, though, where I work, they mandate the flu vaccine, and I started getting it every year. And so when COVID, this topic of the vaccine started really becoming a reality for us in the United States, I did see all this controversy. I did see all this back and forth. And I am a registered nurse, but I run a clinical research site. That's my job. I run clinical trials on human subjects for medications that are not approved by the FDA. And, I've been doing this for majority of my career, and it's a passion of mine, this idea of, using science to bring medications to fruition for people that need them. And so, when the vaccines started being tested, one of the things that, I do have access to, I do have more access to the data behind the vaccinations and stuff. And, being in my field, the different drugs that were being tested for COVID-19, because it's not just vaccines, but the treatments themselves. And, some of the drugs that we use in my clinic for other indications, they started testing them for COVID-19. And, so I do have access to maybe more than the general population. And I understand that. I understand that I have access to information and data that maybe other people don't have, just being in my field. And this fight back and forth, I just found myself becoming frustrated, because I understand the process. I am in the process every day of my life when I go to work, in this process of clinical trials, of testing out new medications. I did not, our site did not participate in COVID-19 vaccine trials. We did not test them on anyone. But I understand the science that goes into these types of situations, into these medications and these vaccines. I understand it. I do it. And I kind of just was, inspired or encouraged to encourage the public. There's a lot of fear right now with everything. If you're not scared of COVID, then you're scared of the vaccine. And, or you're scared of both. Or, you're just living reckless, and which I don't advise. But I would say I had the opportunity today, surprisingly, as a registered nurse, like in the state of Florida right now, mostly it's MDs, doctors that are getting the vaccination through Moderna or Pfizer. Those are the two that are FDA approved for emergency use, which means that no, they didn't go through all 4 phases of clinical trials, but the data from the initial phases that they did complete was promising enough, and that means that the adverse event profile was low enough for the FDA to approve them to be distributed because of the pandemic, because we're in a state of emergency. So I understand people's hesitation, resistance to getting the vaccine, and it's everyone's choice whether you want to or not. But I will say that science has come a long way. This is not new science. This idea of mRNA vaccination is not new science. They've been working on this for many years. Coronavirus that causes, the strain of coronavirus that causes COVID-19 is SARS-CoV-2, which is basically a shortened version of, what the symptoms that it causes: severe acute respiratory syndrome, COV for COVID, and then 2, meaning that this is the second one. This is the second coronavirus that is causing SARS. SARS 1, as SARS. Everybody knows this is COVID-19 as if this is like a new thing. This is just the second virus that's causing the same symptoms. SARS, that was out a few years ago, caused such severe symptoms. And so they called it SARS. COVID-19 has a variety of different symptoms, including SARS symptoms, but they're not as severe as the initial SARS coronavirus. MERS is another one that was in the Middle East, Middle Eastern Respiratory Syndrome. So I just feel like, I just wanted to share my heart, and my heart is to share knowledge and information. The science that they are using for these vaccines is science that has been around for years, because they were using it for the SARS and the MERS coronaviruses. So no, it's not, oh, they just started this vaccine in March and they're already giving it to people in December. They had the science and they had the knowledge of these coronaviruses years ago when SARS and MERS were out. And all they're doing is now adding what we know about this virus to that knowledge and to that data and to that science. And they're able to come out with something that's more expedited. So I did get vaccinated today. Like I said, surprise to me, I did find a site that was allowing for registered nurses and healthcare providers. If you are a licensed healthcare provider, medical assistant, registered nurse, LPN, x-ray technician, ultrasound technician, medical doctor, if you have a license or a certification to do something medical and you are actively working with patients at your job, you qualify to get vaccinated. If you want to DM me, I can give you the information for where I came. It's actually Holy Cross Health, the healthcare system. They have different sites where they're allowing for frontline workers to become vaccinated for COVID-19. I just got my shot at 12:45. It is now 1:18 p.m. And I'm not growing an arm out of my head, and I'm not turning green, and I'm not a zombie. So, I think moving forward, I will probably vlog, a couple more days and just kind of keep everyone informed of my progress. But again, being in clinical research, being in the healthcare profession, and just having access to this information, I just feel like it's so important during these times to spread knowledge and to spread, hope that there is something happening for us out there, that we don't have to continue to watch people that we love pass away. We don't have to continue to watch people get sick and suffer. And it's not just death. I've come across people that have survived COVID-19 and they all say the same exact thing. It's nothing that they would wish on their worst enemy, and it is scary. It is scary to survive it. The threat of death, the feeling that you feel when you're fighting it, I've heard, is like, you don't know if you're going to make it to the next day, and some people don't. And that's just the truth. That's been my truth since this started. And so that's just kind of what I wanted to share. I just completed my first initial COVID-19 vaccine. I do have to come back in 21 days to get my second shot of the vaccine, and then that's it for, I believe, this year. And then moving forward, I'm not sure how frequently they're going to want people to become vaccinated, to be vaccinated. The flu obviously is yearly, but the more that this thing spreads, the more it mutates, the more mutations are out there. Unfortunately, the more time that this thing just has to go around and infect people, the more chance of it mutating into different things. And, You know, when you start talking about a lot of mutations, you start talking about, yeah, the vaccines need to be updated and they have to include the new strains that they find. And so, you know, it is a potential that this is going to be an annual thing. But we need to do it. We need to do it. We need to stop letting this, you know, virus just destroy families, and we need to stop letting this virus, you know, just spread and multiply, and we need to be safe. So for everyone out there that's listening, if you would share this information, if you would share this video, I don't mind. Like I said, it's just my heart to share as much information as I can. And I will be back to show what my arm looks like tomorrow. You know, they said expect like aches like in my arm where they injected, which was, you know, right there, left arm. They said it'll be sore tomorrow. It might be red, it might be hot, similar to what I go through with the flu vaccine. I'm expecting that. But if I do have any other symptoms, I will definitely let you know. But do me a favor, hit share. Let's get this information out there. This is not something to be, you know, scared of, or it's not something to be just totally against. Obviously, everybody has their own opinions, and whatever your opinion is, it's fine. But this isn't the time where our country needs to be spreading fear. It really isn't. And, you know, if this is available to you and the big people that are claiming they weren't going to get it are now getting it, I feel like it's only fair to fight back against that fear that they have spread in the past, because guess what? They were the ones spreading the fear in the beginning, and oh, don't get the vaccine, oh, don't do this, oh, don't do that, and now they're getting the vaccine. They're the first ones in line. So to all my healthcare workers out there, to all my frontline workers, all my essential workers, thank you for everything that you do. Thank you for fighting through this. Thank you for serving your community. Thank you for just being brave and doing your job and doing it the best that you can in this situation. And I will see you guys next time.